Guys, we got a wrenching video. So here we have my primal Raminator monster truck, and in the last outing I broke it a little bit. So in this video, we're going to fix it. So I've broken a wheel off, so I'm going to have to fit a new axle. This steering servo here has died. The front axle has completely lost drive, so we're going to have to strip it down, have a look inside, and see what's caused it. And also, we need to adjust the brakes, because there's not really much brakes there. And a couple of broken body clips. So we're going to start off by stripping down this front axle to see if we can find the problem. So the shaft looks good, so it's definitely not that. So I've just pulled the shaft out of the other side, and this one looks perfect too. So I think I'm going to have to remove the diff, and to get the diff out, we have to split this whole axle in half. And to do that, it's all these screws around the outside here. So I don't know if it's going to be easier just to remove the whole entire axle, so then I can work on it on the bench. So this pin here is in one piece. So now we can get all these bolts to hold the two axle halves together, then hopefully the differential will fall out. So this pot here looks good. Something inside the differential. Oh, that there has snapped off. Alright, it's a couple of days later. I ordered all of this stuff here on Monday evening, and it's just turned up now on Thursday morning. Man, what a service, all the way from USA over here to the UK. So let's get this baby back on the road. So I brought a whole screw set. This is, I think, every single screw was in the whole car. New drive shafts, new shock shafts, new servo, new body posts, and new differential cups. And hopefully, that's the only damage. So we're going to start off with repairing this diff. And man, look at the size of it. And it's got spiral cut gears there. This is what they've done on the version 2 Raminator, just to make the diffs a bit stronger. So I like to use this Loctite 270, which is actually stud lock and super, super strong. But you can get it off again when you heat it up to around about 300 degrees. So these diffs come with 20,000 CST differential fluid in there. I want to lock it up slightly, not fully locked. So I'm going to put some 300,000 in there and just see what happens. Oh, guys, I've done a boo-boo. I forgot to put the bearing back on there, so now I've got to open the whole thing up again. I'm going to do it off camera. Alright, there we go. The bearing's on there now. Alright, so I got most of that back together again now. One of these two servos has died. Yeah, this one here's had it. So I'll have a new one here. Hopefully this is not going to be a regular thing and a one-off. Oh, that's gone warm. back in action. Let's put a little bit of heat shrink over there just to stop these plugs from coming apart. Alright, there we go. Got the axle all back bolted on. Got the sway bars bolted back on again. So next, I'm just going to lift it up and then we're going to get the servos back on. So next, we need to align the servos. So we put the radio on, car on, make sure that all your trims are nice and centred up. And then it's got these 4 screws that are around this servo hall. And the idea of them is that there's some fine adjustment to get it perfectly right. Because if you've got them a little bit out, and you've got these 2 servos fighting against each other, then you're going to burn them out really, really quickly on. So you want to fit these with all these 4 screws loose on both sides. So all the radio gear's on, and we want to get that on there so it's as square and as central as possible. We can go ahead and put the other side on. And now look, both servos are not fighting each other, and we have all that adjustment there. So I'm just going to go ahead and nip up this central screw, and on the other one. And then if all this is nice and square, everything's 90 degrees, then we can go ahead and nip up these 4 screws, and the same on the other one. Boom! So next I've got to replace the shaft in the back here. I'm not going to bother filming it because I did film it on this side and it's exactly the same on the rear. One thing that I'm thinking is why this could have snapped is because there's a bolt in the middle there that holds that pin in, and I've really done it up really, really tight. So I'm wondering if that screw on there being done up so tight is forcing the metal apart that made it weaker. So next time I'm just going to nip this screw up and not do it too tight and see what happens then. So next I've got to replace this shock shaft here. You can see it's got a slight bow in it. So I want to actually put some thinner shock oil in there. A lot of people in the comments say they look a little bit stiff. And when you look at the slow motion, even when you're jumping this really, really high, not just on my video, if I watch RC Sparks' video as well, where you jumped it over that great big snow mound, when it landed, it looked like there wasn't really that much suspension travel. It maybe only sort of moved an inch. So I've got all this shock oil here, but I'm looking in the book and it says 100 CST. And my thinnest oil that I've got is already 100. So I think what I'm going to do is take it apart and then drill out the pistons inside, just to make it a little bit softer. If it doesn't work out, I'll just have to buy new pistons. But hey, if you don't try, you don't know. So at the moment, I think these are just over a 1mm size hole. So I'm going to open it up to 1.5mm and then just see how it goes. So new shock shaft. So the bigger washer goes on first. And that's because that's the shock, you know, as you land hard and that shock rams down onto the shaft. It's just a bit of a bigger area. Alright, that went on there way too easy, so I was going to put a little double of Loctite on there. Then I just need to top it up slightly. Depending whereabouts you put the piston, it's going to be different how it performs. So I'm just going to go for about halfway up. We'll do it the same with all of them, so I will measure. Oh, that's actually locked there now. Alright, and then do it up. Maybe that's the way you... Lovely! Alright, so that's all done. So I'm going to drill out the pistons and all the other shocks. The shock shafts and all the other ones are all straight, so I haven't got to do that. So I'm going to do that off camera and then we'll get you back on. All right, all the shocks are back on, all the pistons are drilled out. It's all moving lovely and smooth. I've just adjusted the brakes. So down here on the caliper, I've just nipped these screws up just so that there's a little bit of play there, but not too much. Before, there was so much play there that when this lever here was being pulled, it was going all the way to the end and not really pinching the brakes properly. So I've done the same the front and the rear. So next we're going to put the wheels on, and then I can adjust the linkages up here, push it and see how strong the brakes are. There we have it, guys, all back together. And oh man, this thing looks so sick. I mean, when this was broken, I just didn't like looking at it, but now it's back in one piece again, and we're going to bring it out again very, very soon. Just check out this suspension flex. So click on one of these videos here, and I will see you in a minute.